Hello everyone, this is gonna be an update video on the Modding Thomas YouTube channel. It has been almost, I feel like I've said this a lot in my older videos, but at least my most recent videos, because I've been taking sort of long series of breaks in between uploads, and I'd say this will probably be the last video I will upload for a very long time, because I have since about August or so, late July of last year, I have sort of been absent from Hoi for Modding entirely, and I no longer have the same sort of interest in making the old tutorials that you can see on this channel. Where I've gotten, I'd say, a surprising amount of views, because I don't feel like I I don't I'm some people say I'm too modest, but I never really saw the channel as anything else beyond just like a little thing to help people out. I never expected any sort of like great positive feedback. I honestly thought it'd just be like it'd just be videos I'd make to help people out who maybe wanted to work on me with mods and stuff. And maybe they share it around a bit, but I wouldn't think I'd get any sort of attention beyond, I think this channel has around 300 subscribers or so. And I'm just a little surprised by it, but this whole channel started when I was in 8th grade, and now I just graduated high school and I'm getting ready to go to college, and sort of this whole era of Hoi for modding and my engagement in it has sort of come to an end. And I think that's just sort of natural thing that has happened. And I have been interested in mining Hoi for. I first was very interested in 7th grade. And this is before I was part of any projects. And I was trying to learn my way around stuff, and trying to build up my knowledge and stuff about Hoi for modding. Always trying to learn more, because ever since I've been a child, I've always had an interest, like a very young child, like I'd say probably when I was around 6 or 7 years old, 8 years old, when I first heard of like mods for a video game or something about it always captivated me in a way. And I've always been interested in trying to create stuff on, computers and stuff, and trying to, just sort of like expand the game beyond, expand games beyond what they originally would have been. And Hoi 4 is one of those games where that is a very easy thing to do, and I'm glad I was able to do, I'd say a good amount of work. And I know I've gone to a lot of controversy on Discord, I know, in the past, particularly in the summer of 2020, and the late summer of 2019, which was, just, I'm not going to explain what it was exactly, but it was really just me acting pretty ridiculous, I'd say. Definitely something I wouldn't be doing right now. It's just the way I was when I was like in 8th and 9th grade. I was very childish, and I was very unrestrained, and I had a lot of built up aggression against people who I would perceive slights as greater than they actually were. But that whole era has really passed, and I know in my last active project I've been working on, Bolshechos Polska, it's probably been my most stable project overall, because I haven't had any series of dramas or controversies like I have with Project Pilsudski, or when my time with the Gates of Versailles, when I was in 8th grade. So it was late 2018, 2019. That whole time I spent a great deal amount of time then, and I would say then I was almost slavishly devoted to that stuff. Definitely during the pandemic in 2020, I was that same way of Project Pilsudski. In 10th grade, that was probably my last great year of activity, because honestly, if I'm being honest, last year in 2021, I wasn't really that active. And actually, not 20, I'm sorry, 2022, I was not that active in modding. But I always kept my eye out, for stuff on there. But now I feel as if this stuff has sort of passed, and I've learned a lot of valuable stuff. I've met a lot of great people. I'm gonna mention a couple people. Rajnu, he's probably gonna be watching this video. I correspond with him on a daily basis still. I met him in the summer of 2020, almost 3 years ago now. Man, he's probably become my deepest friend online, and I'm really grateful for that. I've also met other people. David, if he's watching this video, he probably will. He's been a great friend. Boomer, they're still part of the BCP team, and he's actually working on a project for showcasing some lore from BCP, which I've always been proud of the lore work we did, because we really put a lot of, it's probably the most in-depth we've ever I've ever been a part of, in terms of lore with a Hoi 4 mod. And just the amount of stuff we were able to put into that, I think it was a really great thing. But there's a couple other people I've known. Globus from the Gates of Versailles. Serious Craft, also from the Gates of Versailles. Mighty Dirt Monkey. He might not be watching this video. He may see it in the future, but he was sort of my number 2 guy on Project Pilsudski. I remember trying to reach out to him a while ago, but I guess he never responded. But I still have positive memories of that time with him, and I know I might not have ended stuff for Project Pilsudski in the best way, but the good memories of work I have, leading that project, I think it is something I'll probably never forget in my life. So I'm really grateful for that. Even the same thing with the Gates of Versailles. There's a couple other people, probably a bunch of people who are not even associated with Hoi 4 modding anymore. There have been people who have, thanked me a lot for the sort of contributions I guess I've made to Hoi 4 modding, the community. The positive contributions, because I know there are a lot of people who did not like me. I don't really blame people for the attitudes they've shown to me, because I know in the past I have been a very, unruly, very, I'd say almost an authoritarian type figure. I've been very, I just say in the past I was not really as good as I really wish I was. But there have been people who there's one person, I won't mention his name, but in 2021, sort of at the peak of our activity for BCP, we were making good deal of progresses in the summer of 2021, 2 years ago now almost. And I remember him telling me that basically that my previous Project Pilsudski, because at that time this guy, he was also working on BCP. He told me that that project had prevented him from had motivated him to not end his life, which I don't want to point again, that's why I didn't mention anyone's name, but I will say just that fact alone sort of puts this soft place in my heart, because I know despite all the mayhem I may have caused for people there, just like needless problems. I know that for some people, I know I have created a positive experience. But I think that's about all the mentions I want to make to people who have been a part of my history of 44 modding. And I think that's about it for mentions. I want to get into sort of more of my final note. Not final note, but more. I just want to start concluding this video because it's probably, it's already 10.5 minutes. I don't want this video to get any longer. But the real motivation for this is that I've just sort of generally lost motivation to continue modding Hoi 4, and I've had problems with morale before, and just find the motivation to keep going. And sort of just the way the community is now, it's just not the same as it was before, where we had a lot of engagement, a lot of potential, and I just don't. It's almost time for this sort of part of my life to go away, and it has been I'd say a pretty big driving force in my life, especially from 2019 to late 2021, late 2021. It was a huge driving force in like the stuff I was doing in my life, and I have been, last year I was a part of. This is some of my last major efforts for BCP. We made some decent progress, a little bit of progress for some content, but certain life circumstances have just sort of forced me to look beyond this sort of this older part of my life, and just where I'm living now as compared to where I was then. It's just changed my attitudes on the way I view my life. So I will say that some people may be saddened, maybe some people might not care, but I do know that regardless of what I might feel in the future, or whatever I had felt in the past, this stuff overall, I think it has been a good thing for me, and I think it's been a good thing for, I mentioned that note about that other person, him saying that Project Pilsudski had helped, motivate him to not end his life, which, it's kind of a dark turn there, but sometimes the stuff we do, and even the small little stuff we do, it has a significant amount of impact on other people. So it's always important to recognize, the impact of our actions, and it's always good to be objective about what you have done, and that is what I hope I have presented here in this video. But this channel will remain up. I'll still have all my videos and stuff. Nothing will be taken down or privated or whatever. You can still watch my old videos when I was in 8th grade, making these poor GFX tutorials on GIMP on this very shoddy laptop that could barely run Hoi 4. But I'll keep all that stuff up. Think there have been certain unlisted videos on this channel, but I think those are private enough, so most people probably don't even know what I'm referring to. But all the videos, all my modding tutorials, all remain up, even though, well, actually probably most of them you can still use them, especially the GFX stuff. That doesn't really change in the focus trees, unless Paradox just decides to completely screw up the way that focus tree coding works. I think that will probably still remain pretty accurate, I'd say. So all the content up here will stay up. This channel will still exist. I may in the future, I have ideas for other ventures that I sort of just, I don't want to get into it here because I want to make this video all about sort of the stuff we've done on this channel here and what stuff I feel I've done here. So yeah. One final note before I end this video, because it's already 15 and a half minutes. Life is a succession of stages, and eventually, especially as you mature and you begin to look at the world in a different way, this sort of stuff, it's more really just a game, with Hoi4 modding, and I know some people even make money off of this stuff, but ultimately it is just a game, just a side hobby, surrogate activity or whatever. My Hoi4 is just a surrogate activity, some sort of side hobby, and it is time for that time to pass off and for us to move into the future. And especially as we face serious problems in the way that humans are living their lives and just the sort of lifestyles we're living and sort of conflict between the system and the way we're living, it's going to be important to sort of move on from this sort of past childish type stuff and try to move into a future where we are actively trying to live out our lives in the best way possible. And then as not to say that anyone in my Hoi4 is living their lives in a really bad way, but for me, I just want to move on, because I will always have a certain feeling of nostalgia and fondness for memories I have made in the past 4 years. But it's time for that stuff to sort of go. And one day, eventually, we will all have to do the same. And it is better to do it now rather than later. So, that's sort of just my take on the situation, what we have to do. And that's what I want to say about this channel. Because that last video, there was a focus icon tutorial, I believe. That will be the final Hoi4 Mine tutorial I will make for the foreseeable future. So yeah, if anyone has any comments, or they wanna, I don't know, express their grief or whatever for the channel, for it ending as we've known it, you can leave in the comments down below. If you're curious about what I intend to do for the future, and I will be making another YouTube channel. I may or may not advertise it on this channel. I might make a little community post or something in the future advertising it or something. And it will not be anything remotely related to this. Just a heads up. But if anyone's curious about what I will be doing in the future, I will provide them with an answer. If anyone has any further questions about my motivations for this action, you're free to ask, even though I feel like I've explained myself relatively clearly in this video. But yeah, this is sort of the end, and I'll see you guys in the future sometime. I don't know. Anyways, that's all. farewell, and of course, have an excellent day.